right. Hopefully we are live and we've got audio and video today. So first of all, let me know that you can hear me. That's a good start to everything here. Let me know. And then as soon as I know, then we'll get started with our discussion for today, which is distracted driving. Staying off our phones is the majority of what we'll be discussing today. Staying off our phones and having as much attention to the job at hand as possible. So as always, you can't have 100% because there's always distractions, whether they're visual or manual, grabbing something to eat or grabbing something to drink. But for the most part, let's keep down on the distractions, and that's what we'll be talking about today. So let me know if you can hear and see me at this point. My name is Jessie. I'm with Decker Truckline, and every Tuesday at noon Central, we go live here on our YouTube channel to give you an opportunity to say hello, let us know what you're up to, and ask your questions. So all relevant here to Decker. Hey, Jackie. Good to see you, bud. So, of course, if you have any questions, concerns, comments, whatever, leave it in the chat so that we can answer them for you as they come in. We'll be replying between Anna and myself. And then if you want to talk to a recruiter directly, you are more than welcome to get a hold of a recruiter at 888-668-0698. Again, that's 888-668-0698. So I think we're good to go. So Jackie's on. We're rip-roaring and ready to go. So we're talking about distractive driving and for the most part, staying off your phones. Staying off your phones. That is the number one. Honestly, that is the number one distraction that's out there. Whether you're texting or you're on your phone or you're looking through your GPS on your phone or hopefully not Facebook or YouTube or anything while you're driving. But there are a lot of people that are even texting or emailing while driving. We need to cut back on that because the number of deaths and fatalities, injuries, and accidents alone are significant. We need to decrease those as quickly and as much as possible. So, hey, Amy. Hello. Hope everyone's doing well. Sadly, you got a sick little kid, a little munchkin. Well, I hope he feels better. Good to see you too, Amy, and hear me today. Awesome. So yeah, that's what we're talking about is mostly the distractive driving, but for the most part, cutting back on using your cell phone and any of those distractions. So because that is the number one. Distracted driving is the number one cause of accidents within the U.S. as of right now and for the last several years. Surprisingly enough, I know back in August we have a big discussion on speed, since that's usually when the speed blitz comes out, is in August. That is the number two reason for accidents here in the U.S. And of course, reflecting that, the number of deaths and fatalities that are on the roadway. And then number three is drunk driving. So as we're seeing a decrease in drunk driving, which is fantastic, obviously we don't want to see any of those at all because that is completely avoidable. So if we can see a decrease in the drunk driving, yet we are still seeing an increase in distractive driving. So if we can get rid of some of those visual, those cognitive distractions, that would be fantastic. Now, there's three different types of distractions. You've got visual, you've got manual, and you've got cognitive. Cell phone usage falls under cognitive. So that's all three, You've got visual, manual, and cognitive. So it really falls under all three. So you've got a triple whammy against you when it comes to using your cell phone. And it can delay your reaction time significantly. Actually, it's said to be a faster or a longer delay, basically a longer delay than having someone who's driving drunk. Driving drunk, you're reckless as it is, but when you're driving with using your cell phone, whether you're texting or emailing or calling, the adjustment from the distraction is significantly longer. And I think it's like 27 seconds between you using your cell phone at a stoplight even just sitting at a stoplight, because there's a lot of us that are guilty of going to our cell phones as soon as we hit a stoplight, start spamming, start responding to whatever text came through while we were coming down the road. Whereas when you're going down the road, a lot more people are better at avoiding it. At a stop sign, you're still you're still they're in the midst of everything where you can cause accidents, especially if it takes a 27-second delay from you transitioning from using your cell phone to reacting to the fact that the light is now green. So I think that's quite significant there in and of itself. So Anna's on there. Amy says, I refuse to text and drive. If you can't call me, then it's not an emergency. Right, and you can use handheld devices. Let's rephrase that. You can use hands-free devices. So get a good headset. And just as it comes in, click on it. And a lot of the vehicles are Bluetooth. So if we can not only improve commercial driving habits for those who are distracted, we need to improve the habits of everybody out on the road, because it's not only commercial drivers that are creating these accidents. A large majority of them are those non-professional drivers who are out on the road with their head down, texting as they're driving, doing makeup while they're driving, reaching back to take care of a kid while you're driving, having a dog jump on your lap, anything like that. Those are all distractions, and we need to figure out how to remove those distractions, or as many of them as possible. When you have a pet in your truck or in your car, make sure that they are secure, that they are, if they're not in a carriage or crate, that they are well secured in the back seat, somewhere where they're not going to be jumping on you and preventing or creating an accident or a possibility of an accident. But Amy, I'm so right with you. I don't text at all when I'm driving. The only way that I answer is through a Bluetooth. If I don't know the number, therefore I don't answer it. Because when you're driving, you don't have enough brain power really to answer some of those. Because you think of you have to be able to engage in the conversation. While I'm driving, my mind is on the road. My mind's not on whether or not I'm giving the information correctly to whoever's asking. It is on the road. And same with if you're driving and you're talking to your driver manager, you're talking to another driver, pull over and find a secure spot to stop, to get the correct information that you need if you need to be updated on something. Now we've got the Qualcomm system that works, so you just pull over and get that information as well. But and then the text to voice can be amplified as well to give you some of that information, so it's just the one touch. But put yourself in the safest environment possible. We've got a lot of safety features that are out there for you to help prevent some of these technology interferences while you're driving or anything like that, so make use of it. Amy says, I do have voice text options and my truck is equipped with the phone in the truck over the speaker. So yeah, huge plus there. Huge plus side on that. Anna says, if you use your phone while you're driving, the chances of being involved in an accident increase 23%. Significantly, 23%. You'll have the same odds of crashing as if you drank 4 large beers. So like I said, when it comes to drunk driving versus distracted driving, it's significantly more. And you know that the number of people that are driving distracted is significantly more than those who are driving drunk. Thankfully, there are not as many people driving drunk, but at the same time, the distractions being the number one cause for fatalities and accidents out on U.S. roadways is significant. Speaking of, let's talk about some of those numbers. I've got those here for you. Texting while driving for the last several years has increased, and it's basically averages out to about 1.6 million accidents a year. And that's just texting. That's not using your phone, talking on the phone. That's texting alone that causes 1.6 million accidents a year on U.S. roadways. 20% of the drivers admit to texting and even sending emails while driving. Sending emails, emails is kind of a slower mode of communication when you look at the spectrum. But so many businessmen or, just some businessmen and women, they're constantly checking their emails because they're afraid that they're going to miss something important. But nothing is more important than your life or the life of somebody else that's on the road. And as pedestrians, just as guilty as those who are driving, because they're assuming that the person driving is going to be more responsible than they are as they're crossing a street with their head down in the phone. Another big pet peeve of mine. Amy says, was in Missoula yesterday coming home on Highway 200, which is not the safest highway on there. Lots of blind corners and whatnot. Anyway, she goes, I was passed by a logging truck that was going well over 70 miles per hour, which is legal in that area, and he was on his phone talking. Of course, bad. Yeah, I knew a guy that actually had 2 cell phones, and he'd be driving a big rig. It was fairly local for the most part, but he had 2 cell phones, and oftentimes he was using both of them. Didn't even have the hands on the wheel. On a manual. Yeah, so those are things that, I mean, we've got to get better at. We've got to reduce that. Anna says the following examples are illegal use of handheld device. I think this is information that you guys all need to know, because some of you feel that you can reason it out, or you feel that you can reason it out. Well, here it is. So illegal use of a handheld device. Holding the phone with at least one hand for any reason whatsoever. Dialing or pressing more than a single button. And reaching for a mobile device. Those are all considered using a handheld device, and you can be ticketed for that. And I don't know if a lot of you recognize this, but the number or the majority major moving violations is the cell phone usage is huge and can cause so many accidents. But cell phone usage in the last couple of years has increased, not only as for usage alone, but also within the insurance industry. So if I'm running an MVR, if somebody's inquiring about Decker and they're wondering whether or not they qualify for us on the base level, one of the main things I'm going to ask them is, do you have any tickets or moving violations? And whether it's on your MVR, your motor vehicle record, or it's on your PSP, and as a professional driver, a PSP is more of a reflection of your CSA score as an individual, and that's going to list any inspections that you had or any DOT write-ups that you had. And that's including warnings. So when the insurance company is taking a look at your record as an individual, as a professional driver, they're looking at both the MVR and the PSP report. If the PSP report has several different write-ups, whether they're speeding, if using a handheld device, having distracted driving, reckless, but your MVR is clear, the PSP is going to weigh just as heavily as having a ticket on your MVR. It's the same thing. And it doesn't specify whether or not it's a warning or not, but it weighs the same as a ticket on your MVR. And a lot of you aren't well aware of that. But if you had a warning for using your cell phone while driving, and it comes up on your PSP, we can't work with that here at Decker. That's a major moving violation. And Decker is not the only company that sees it. More and more companies are recognizing that, and insurance companies are putting a stop to it. And some of those companies that aren't running the PSP report before hiring an individual later come back and say, you know what, we can't work with you. CSA points are too high. And that's because you have been given a written warning on using a cell phone or a mobile phone device. And therefore the insurance company catches that and they can't work with it. So anybody have any questions on the major moving violation or the cell phone usage as a major moving violation? So as an expense, if you're looking at what the total cost could be to an individual, $2,300 is what you can expect, up to $2,300, $2,700 I should say, $2,700 for a fine for using a handheld device. $2,750 actually. That's what you can expect, just as an individual. Now, as a company, it can be up to $11,000. Now, in the state of Alaska, as an individual, it's $10,000. Now, the rest of the states aren't as hefty, but Alaska, $10,000. Companies get hit at $11,000. That is a main reason why companies do not work with something like that on your PSP report. On your PSP or your MVR or any other report that might be out there. And insurance, they're looking at that. All right. So very informative, I think. And that's just for a violation. That doesn't mean if you caused an accident or a fatality because you were on your cell phone. That's over and above those additional expense or that basic fine expense. Speaking of, the number of states here in the U.S. that have texting bans, 48. 48 states have texting bans. Anna actually just put texting and driving is banned in 47 states. Well, it depends on the 47 out of 48 states. So if you're looking at the lower 48, then yes, 47 states have some sort of texting and driving ban, some sort of. Missouri requires 21 and under. They'll be ticketed. So there's a ban on 21 years old or younger for texting while driving. Now the state of Montana, oddly enough, state of Montana does not have any restrictions on, or at least interstate restrictions on texting of any sort. That being said, most cities here in Montana, they actually have a ban of some sort within city limits. So there is, for the most part, all 48, lower 48 have it. Now there's the rest of, I mean, even Guam and Puerto Rico, they've got restrictions on texting as well. Because it makes a difference, because it is the number one reason for distracted driving, and distracted driving is the number one reason for fatalities and injuries on U.S. roadways. Anna makes a good point. Over 84% of drivers recognize that the danger of using a cell phone. They know that it's wrong. They know that it can cause accidents and can be detrimental to anybody's life or their livelihood. And yet, the majority of them, well, a good chunk of them still do it. 36% of the same people, those same 84% that say, no, you should have a ban on it, you should be charged for it, it is absolutely unacceptable. 36 of those, they admit that they still do it. They either text or email while driving. So we've got to put a stop to it. It's too dangerous. And I mean, you take your phone, for example, you take a moment to look down, to receive the text, or to respond to the text. One or the other, just one of those acts. If I'm reading the text, I'm looking down for about 5 seconds. It can be a brief text, still about 5 seconds on average. And at 55 miles an hour, that's basically me going from one end of the football field to another end of the football field. And you know that that's enough of a distance that you're going to be hitting. You can get into the ditch by that time. You can cross center lines at that time and do a lot of damage. The number of individuals who have died, who have lost family members, because of distracted driving, texting while driving is significant. And yes, it is the numbers are larger, or statistics are larger in the younger ages. However, that's for those who have created the accidents, those who have been in accidents. But the majority of those ages 29 to 34, they are the ones that are the most guilty for texting and driving or receiving email while driving. At least they're the admitted ones. And the level beyond those are up to 59, from 40 to 59. So it's the adults. It's us adults we adults that are the ones that are guilty. And how do you expect a young adult or a child to not do what you're doing? They mirror our actions. And if you've got a rider in the truck next to you, and that rider is a 10, 12, 13-year-old son or daughter, and they're watching you respond while driving on your cell phone, what do you expect them to do in a car? Probably the same thing. So we've got to lead by example. And as a professional driver, you most definitely need to lead by example, not only because it's your livelihood and you can lose the opportunity to even provide for your family, but you could lose the opportunity to provide for your family because you passed away. You were in an accident. You died. You were injured. You hurt somebody else. All reasons that we need to stop. Whether you're a professional driver or you're a civilian out on the road, distracted driving must definitely stop. So those age groups, again, I'll be more accurate. The number one for guilt, I guess. And now this is for those who have admitted it. But the number one is for ages 29 to 39. Number two, 40 to 59. And then the younger age, I think it's 14 to 18 is the third party or third level of guilt for those texting and driving. So using a cell phone while driving, it's 400% more time of your eyes off the road. You're distracted 400% more than when you're not using a cell phone. So let's talk about some of this. I know we're talking a lot about cell phones, but let's talk about some of those distractions that are not cell phone related. When you're driving down the road, especially as a professional driver, you're looking for certain exits. You've got visual distractions constantly. You've got people that are having accidents out alongside of you. You've got deer that are coming out in front of you that you're trying to react to. Hopefully nothing bigger than that, but you've got, you're trying to have defensive driving while you're headed down the road. That alone is a distraction. Yeah, it's part of driving, but it's still a distraction. Defensive driving alone. Those are a lot of visual, manual, cognitive. Listening to your GPS, listening to the radio. That's a distraction. That's why a lot of times when, with the younger adults, depending on the state that you're in, when they're driving with a permit, they're not allowed to listen to a radio, CDs, music, because it's a distraction and their mind is on the music video or the lyrics themselves. They're not focusing on the road at hand. They're also not allowed to have, in a lot of states, not allowed to have younger adults with them because they're a distraction. They don't realize how much energy and how much of our attention needs to be directed to the road and to the task at hand. Because they're used to doing multiple tasks. They're used to having their Game Boy or whatever they're called now, their Nintendo, their Xbox on while they're watching TV or while they're listening to something else. So much is going on and we ignore it. They grow up ignoring it. And it's just because that's what they're used to. So they don't realize the importance of having more attention on the task at hand. And it says over 11 teenagers die every single day because of texting and driving. Every day within the U.S. So all things to be aware of. How can drivers use a mobile phone and still obey the rules? We talked about some of those illegal use of cell phones. The illegal use is holding the cell phone with at least one hand for any reason whatsoever, dialing or pressing with a single button, or reaching for your mobile phone. So how can you use it and still obey some of these laws? Well, locate your mobile phone or locate your cell phone ahead of time. Use it before you start driving. Take care of whatever task needs to be done ahead of time. Have it secured. There's those secure mounts so that you can do just the one touch. Instead of it flying around the place and you're reaching for it upside down in your seat trying to catch it. Utilize an earpiece. So the headsets, there's some really nice ones that are inexpensive that you can get, and they're just the one touch. I mean, you can get a really nice set for, I think I paid $18 for mine. Noise canceling, nice headsets. Get voice activated answering. Set that up. You can set that up on one touch. Speaking of cell phones and setting up answering, voice activated answering and touch features, terminating a call, initiating a call, all of that. How many of you guys have Androids? And how many of you guys have iPhones? Go ahead, put it in there. I want to see it. How many of you have Androids and how many of you have iPhones? One or the other. I personally have an Android. The percentage of those who have an Android versus those who have an iPhone that are guilty of texting and driving is significantly less for those who have Androids. It's like 84% or 89% or something like that for those who have iPhones. They respond that much quicker to the texts, to the emails. They just can't allow it sitting there untouched. iPhone, Android. See? Anna, are you more guilty? Yeah. Huge. It doubles in the number of individuals who are more likely to respond. I don't know why, if they're, again, this is a statistics that they have to answer, but maybe it's the fact that there's more iPhones out there. I don't know. But significantly higher responses while driving with those who are driving with an iPhone. 390,000 injuries a year are caused by texting and driving. So of those 1.6 million accidents a year that we mentioned earlier, 390,000 have injuries. And if you look at the numbers in the last, if you look at the numbers in the last several years, you look from 2017, 2018, and 2019. Obviously, we don't have the stats yet for 2020 since we just started the year. But I want to say for 2017, it was around 3,000, somewhere around there, for the number of deaths caused by using a cell phone while driving. Somewhere around there. That's 2017. 2018, which is huge, by the way. A huge number. That can be prevented. Just put the thing away. 2018, 4,300. 4,600, I lied. 4,600 deaths in the U.S. because of cell phone related accidents. 4,600. Yes, that's in 2018. 2019, over 6,000. 6,000. Yes. There you go. In 2018, the number of deaths related to cell phone usage in car accidents was 4,637 in U.S. alone. Over 6,000 in 2019. We're working on the drunk driving and we're getting those down. That distraction is coming down. Why is texting going up? Especially when we have all of this technology available, which seems to cause a lot of distraction, but we also have the technology to help remove a lot of the distraction. With the One Touch, we're using the headset, using the automobile, Bluetooth, all of that. 25% of all car accidents in the U.S. involve a cell phone. Huge numbers, you guys. Huge numbers. All right. What else have we got? What else for distraction? Distractive driving, and how can we prevent it? Also, the number of pedestrians that have caused accidents in the since 2007 to 2017, and I don't have more recent data, but 2017 has rose by 27%. Those are pedestrians that are causing it. The fact that there's percentages out there, it just shows that it's significant, the number of individuals who are even involved in it to begin with. So it's not just the drivers that are at fault, but our job as professional drivers is to be superior at defensive driving. Why try and challenge yourself to what you can and cannot do, right? So the best way to comply and to get started, to avoid it at all costs, is to flat out don't reach for it. No holding it, no dialing it, no texting, no reading. Avoid it all. That's how easy it is to comply with these rules. Yes, additional. Same with any of the other distractions. Putting on chapstick, putting on mascara. I can't believe how many people put mascara on while they're driving down the road. So many of them are closing their eyes while they're doing it. Answering emails. You know, a text is really brief, and you figure that the 5 seconds reading the text, that's the football field, and that's just at 55 miles an hour. A lot of you guys are going way faster than that. So at 55 miles an hour, you're going the distance of a football field while you're reading a text. Imagine how much longer that is reading an email. No fun. Nope. That's right. Adjusting the radio, cassette, CD player, finding a channel. All of that. Yeah. Eating, drinking, smoking, all fall under distractive driving. Adjusting your temperature, adjusting your seat, all of that. So let's stay off our phones. Let's avoid the distractive driving altogether. Let's just stop that. Stop that. Right? All right. I'll get off my horse here. Got off my soapbox. But I feel it's important that we know the distractions that are out there and how they can be avoided. So if you guys have any suggestions, advice, please put it in the comments. Let's share those with everybody else. Hey Mike, good to have you. Thanks for joining us. We were talking about distractive driving, basically a safety video, giving some of those stats that are out there, and I think by knowing some of these statistics that it's kind of a wake-up call for a lot of us. Yep, reaching for objects in the vehicle, toothpick after French fries. That too, Anna. Well, we've got a few other things that I want to talk about. You guys, this is a big week for us. I don't know if you know this, but for all of you in Fort Dodge, who will be in Fort Dodge for Friday, please join us for our 2019 Driver of the Year Awards. Those are going to be rewarded on Friday at noon, really. We'll be doing the rewards at noon on Friday in Fort Dodge. We will be serving lunch, so if you stop in, be there by 11:30 and get in. It's in the big shop areas. There's going to be signs and trails. You'll find it. But stop in about 11:30. We'll start serving lunch. Get you something to eat. Have you sit down, visit with a few people, kind of say hi, make sure that you're cheering on those who have been rewarded for the Driver of the Year. And if you missed that, we'll give you some more details on that as well. But make sure that you congratulate those who have been chosen for Driver of the Year this year. Let's see. We've got, speaking of Driver of the Year awards, let me tell you a little bit about who has been rewarded for those. We have 7 different divisions. Got Midwest Refrigerated, Charles Gahn. Our Midwest Flatbed Division, Thomas Melton. Southern Flatbed Division, Anthony Vasquez. Anthony last year too, I'm pretty sure. Our Western Refrigerated Division winner is Art Club. Art Club was the first to win the Driver of the Year awards here at Decker, and that was in 2016 or was it 17? Can't remember. Art first one won a Harley Davidson motorcycle. Yeah, it was I think it was a lowrider, wasn't it? But yeah, so Art, I'm pretty sure, won the first one. Owner-operator, lease purchase, Sean Swallows. Sean Swallows is the Driver of the Year for that. Trainer division, Todd Overson. Congratulations, Todd. And our team division winners. Now, we had Gary and Judy for the last 2 years, and Lydia and Robert are our team winners for 2019. So congratulations to Lydia Dietrich and Robert Anderson for our team winners for 2019. So what does that do? What does that mean? What is it all about? So for 2019, the winners there, basically that means that they've had the best scorecards or the most consistently high scorecards for their division, and they'll be rewarded $3,000 for each division winner. They'll be rewarded $3,000 in cash that'll be rewarded to them on Friday. So I'd like you guys to share with us, but there's so much more that's going on. Besides the dinner, besides the luncheon, and all that good stuff, and the rewards for the Driver of the Year, we also have a Grand Champion Award that will be rewarded $15,000 in cash, and that winner is going to come from the 7 Driver of the Year winners for each of the divisions. So we'll choose just one grand prize winner for $15,000 in cash between Charles, Thomas, Anthony, Art, Sean, Todd, and then Robert and Lydia. So we'll be choosing those and announcing it. Nobody knows yet. And then we have our million mile professional drivers that will be rewarded as well. So for now we have 1 million and 2 million mile winners. Last year we had even had some 4 million mile winners that were rewarded. But let's see, we've got for million mile winners, we've got Gary Carnahan, Dean Sosick, Timothy Whitesell, Thomas Melton, Coley Volmer. You guys, a lot of these names you've seen a lot already, or that you will be seeing. And that's because they're consistently getting high scorecards, and they're well aware of their numbers. They know what it takes to constantly get those high numbers on their scorecard. The scorecard is really the basis for what we use for not only your monthly bonuses, but also the driver of the month gauge to determine who's going to be the driver of the month, as well as the driver of the year, obviously, in that reflection. And the Smart Drive system, the Smart Drive bonus is also a reflection of the driver of the year awards. And then our 2 million mile award winner will be Antonio Fernandez. So we've got lots of awards coming up, I guess. Friday at noon Central, that's in Fort Dodge, and just be part of it. We'd love it if you guys could join us and be part of that. So, there you go. Thomas, hey Thomas, how are you? She is a hoot. She's always got good ones. Let's see, what am I missing here? Yes, we are very excited to honor these drivers. Absolutely, Anna says we're very excited to honor these drivers and announce the 2019 Grand Champion Driver of the Year and award ceremony that will be scheduled at 12 p.m. So the ceremony itself is scheduled at 12 p.m. Central in Fort Dodge, but the luncheon starts at 11:30. So get there early, because I'm sure that you're going to want some whatever they're serving, along with I'm sure they're going to have cookies. They always have cookies. That's the good stuff. Does it say what we're serving? Nope, just that lunch will be served. And don't forget, if you can't make it, if you're one of us who cannot make it to Fort Dodge on Friday, then join us for the live event. It will be a live broadcast on our Facebook channel, facebook.com/DTL Inc. And you'll be able to share in the excitement and congratulate those winners right there live on our Facebook. So please join us. We'd love to have you. This is pretty exciting, so we hope to have you join in on all of that. So yes, that is our 2019 Driver Awards, and more stuff coming up. Also coming towards the end of the week, we have got daylight savings. Can you guys believe it's daylight savings already? Oh my goodness, so crazy. Daylight savings time. So make sure that you've got your clock set. Want to make sure that our loads are always on time and our clocks are set to reflect the daylight savings time, so that we're not showing up late. We're still on time for scheduling everything. So for the daylight savings time. Speaking of daylight savings and spring and all that stuff, pretty common this time of year. Frost is starting. The ground is starting to thaw a little bit, but all the moisture that's in it, it's going to get mucky and muddy, and let's try and stay on the pavement. So, sounds funny, but I do know that some of our customers, it's not paved in some of the areas when you're turning around or whatnot. Be well aware of the ground, and hopefully you guys can stay on the pavement as much as possible. So springtime can lead to warmer temps that causes the frosty ground to turn to mud. Lucky you for out. So let's avoid getting off the pavement whenever possible. So let's stay out of the mud. And not only to stay out of the mud, but, to avoid getting stuck, because obviously we want to avoid that. But also, we've got our Clean Ride campaign, Take Pride in Your Ride campaign, and I'm sure that all of you guys who want to be part of that want to keep your trucks clean. So information that I just found out yesterday, and I think Justin was the one that asked it in our Facebook Live, but you can use any of the wash bay facilities 24 hours a day. So it's just a push button start. So for all of our Decker professional drivers, if you're at one of the terminals that we have a wash bay, then yes, you can use it after hours. It's just a push button start so that you can get all cleaned up, washed, go. And if you need some of the supplies for the interior of your truck and you ran out, because we do provide those, you can get a hold of the shop for a lot of that. But if you don't have it and you need it, you can get those from the shops. So a lot of the Take Pride in Your Ride campaign is promoting a cleaner truck and yet another distraction that we can avoid. So getting rid of some of those cans and cups and coffee cups and wrappers and whatever it is that are by your feet, clearing out that, keeping your truck clean and a lot of the debris away from it, just fewer distractions. It's a safer route. So that's why we have that Take Pride in Your Ride campaign. One of the reasons. So you can wash the truck at any of the terminals that we have a wash bay 24 hours a day. Excellent. Very cool. Any other questions on that? No? All right. Well, as a reminder, if you guys haven't already, subscribe to our Facebook channel and followed us on Facebook, but subscribe. You can subscribe to our YouTube. Just click the little bell and then that'll notify you every time that we go live. And I do plan on sharing not only our Facebook Live on Facebook, because that's how that works, but also on our YouTube as well, at least the replay on our YouTube. Thomas says, Knott's Berry door is locked at 4:30. Yes, for some of them are not 24 hours, but Fort Dodge, I believe Missoula, but I know Fort Dodge for sure is 24 hours. 24/7. Just come in and do it. Cool. All right, you guys. Awesome. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Does anybody have any questions on some of the positions that we have available? We do have some positions available here in the Midwest, out west as well. In the Midwest, we're looking for flatbed division out of Fort Dodge. We've got guaranteed pay in certain areas. We've got guaranteed pay in our Midwest refrigerated as well. And then our over-the-road flatbed opportunities out of there. We do require 9 months of over-the-road tractor trailer experience for any of our divisions. So if you have more questions on that, let me know. Get a hold of one of the recruiters. 888-668-0698. You can reach us there. Bobtail Wash Bay, open at all times. There's a push button in there, Anna says. Use it. Awesome. Okay. Awesome. All right. So join us on Friday. We will be doing the live on our Facebook channel. And we'd like to have you guys there. So if you are there physically, stop in, get something to eat, and say hi to everybody. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, but look around. There's a lot of videos on there that are informative. There's training videos. We've got Tanner in several of the videos walking you through flatbed tarp training and securement training. If you need a refresher on that, he's the one to watch. And they're at the top of our list right now on our YouTube channel. Also, APU units. We're not dealing with them as much anymore, but they're still out there during certain areas. I'm sure you're using them more than others, but the APU unit, if you're having any problems with it, you can troubleshoot it. There is a video on there for troubleshooting. Speaking of that, if you haven't used your TransFlow app, please download your TransFlow app so that you can use it. It's going to be a heck of a lot easier if you can use your TransFlow app on getting your settlements in, getting your paperwork in to the billing department, payroll department, also viewing your settlements, your scorecard, so you know what your scorecard bonus is, Smart Drive. There's a lot of training videos as well on the TransFlow, so make sure that you are doing that. You know, speaking of, let's give you a little bit of that.
Today we are going to review the features of our Decker branded TransFlow app.
So make sure that you get that if you haven't already. That's kind of hard to hear. Make sure that you get that if you haven't already, download that TransFlow app. It is a Decker TransFlow app. It'll have the Decker emblem when you go in and search in either iTunes or on the Google Play app. Couldn't remember what it was called. Google Play app. Cool. Excelente. Distractive driving. Stop it. That's all I have to say. Just stop it. And if you've got any suggestions on how to limit it, we would appreciate that. So go ahead and leave that in the comments. As always, if you guys have any concerns, any subjects that you would like discussed here on our questions and answers for our YouTube, for our Facebook, we do them every Monday on Facebook at 4 p.m. Central. Do them every week on Tuesday at noon Central here on our YouTube channel. You can contact me directly at facebook.com/DTL Inc. and give us some ideas for information that you're needing or wanting to know more about, and we'll get that out to you. You guys have been awesome. Also take a look at our blog. We've got a lot of information on there available to you to answer some more updated and current information for some of the positions that we have available and some of the resources that we have, little FAQ. All right, cool. So you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. Enjoy the first week of March, and please stay out of the mud. Stay safe. Protect yourself. All right, take care, you guys.